As you can see, we bought over 20 watches for you guys for the watch shop. And today we're taking a quick look at everything from Breguet to Patek to Cartier and so much more, including a pretty special gilt exclamation Rolex. With that being said, we're gonna take a look at some crazy watches, but I also have a few very affordable and amazing vintage watches for well under $2,000 to show you guys at the end of this video. So make sure you stick around. All these are gonna be available over at huntingtoncompany.com. So if anything catches your eye, please let me know. We have an amazing collection and I can't wait for you guys to see it. The first two are Breguet Classiques. Both of these are in white gold with a complete set. They're box papers and original buckle. This one even with its original strap. This Classique is around 34 millimeters in manual with an open caseback and a regulator on the movement. This is also in white gold with its guilloche dial. We put it on a beautiful glazed alligator strap. This is the go-to sub-second Classique that you see and many people love from Breguet. But next to it is a bit of an oddball. This one is an automatic movement with a closed case back, a date window at 6 o'clock, and a center seconds with a case that's a little bit smaller. But the funny thing is, even though it's smaller, it still has that very sporty look because of the date window at 6. Both of these are in phenomenal condition. I think Breguet from the neo-vintage era brings some serious value and bang for your buck when it comes to beautiful and classic dress watches. And if you didn't know, Breguet is a very important brand when it comes to the world of horology. So make sure you do a deep dive into the brand and learn everything they have done for the watch industry because it's pretty important. But next to those, we'll hop into this pile of beautiful and amazing watches. We'll start with the top 3 watches. Here are 3 Tudors. We have a pretty sweet Tudor Chronograph. This is the perfect, I think, affordable alternative to the early 4-digit Daytonas. It's a bit thicker with its automatic edit movement, but it still brings a lot of that vintage Daytona charm that we love. Brushed lugs, a beautiful oyster bracelet. This one is the rare albino dial. There were 3 variations of this dial, and this, in my opinion, is the best example of the albino dial. This is a complete set with its original box and papers in unpolished, phenomenal condition. Next to the chronograph, we have 2 very affordable Tudors. These are right under $2,000. It's the reference 74,000. It's the OysterDate version for Tudor from the vintage and neo-vintage era. These are such awesome watches because the dial and handset are straight from the design of the original Tudor Ranger. This one is in phenomenal condition with tritium lume and its original oyster bracelet. And next to it is an earlier example. The black dial being a 74,000N with a sapphire crystal, and it just says Prince date on the dial. But this is a 74,000 without any letter at the end, indicating it's an early example with an acrylic crystal and a Prince oyster date on the dial. This is a gilt dial, silver with gold hands and hour markers, also with its original oyster bracelet. A true affordable alternative to the OysterDate and Datejust in my opinion, but you're still getting a whole lot of Rolex branding. And as you can see, right next to it is a Rolex OysterDate reference 1500 with an automatic movement, very, very similar to the Tudor. This is double the price, but you are getting a Rolex. This one is in amazing condition with its original box and papers, a very rare thing to see with these vintage OysterDates. These 34mm oyster cases are usually fairly worn or just not in the best condition, but this one is near mint. Beautiful tritium lume, a classic silver dial, and its original papers. Next to it, a 36mm Datejust with a beautiful warm linen dial. A fantastic go-to watch. Everybody knows it. It's the 16234 with a sapphire crystal. After that is a pretty heavy hitter in this collection. We have a few of them, but this is a major one. It's an early 1016 with a gloss gilt chapter ring dial and an exclamation dial, as you can see at 6 o'clock. This is a very rare version of the Explorer, and to see a dial as beautiful as this one is so cool. This is on a beautiful patinaed brown strap that we paired on it, which I think works perfectly with the lume on the hands and the dial. It's a very cool watch and something that is pretty rare when it comes to vintage 4-digit Rolex. With all these sporty Rolexes, we do have a pretty dressy one. This is a watch that not many people even know exists. It's the Rolex 3805, a personal favorite of mine. We've had a few of them in the watch shop, always in precious metal with a pretty cool dial. This one in gray and white gold. It's in really nice condition, unpolished, and a very classy and dressy Rolex. I think these bring some serious value to the vintage watch market. The Cellini line has always been the ugly duckling of the Rolex models, but for me, I think there's a whole lot of value to find. And these are always great pickups for anybody looking for a Rolex, but just wants to be a bit more unique, but still wants something that is beautiful and timeless in design. They even make them in crazy cool vignette dials, but this gray anthracite dial is always a great pickup in white gold. With dress watches, we also have an Audemars Piguet Ultra Slim. They're just classic, simple dress watches from the Holy Trinity for under $5,000. This one in yellow gold with a champagne dial and its original hand-engraved buckle, which is really cool. I love these watches. In my opinion, one of the best dress watches that you can pick up for under $5,000. Next to it, we get a bit more sporty, just a classic Speedmaster reduced. This early example with pumpkin loom is in phenomenal condition, but what I want to talk about is the one next to it. As you can see, this is on a strap, which is how these watches were produced in the late 90s and early 2000s. This one with its original box and papers, a mother of pearl dial, a beautiful unpolished case with Tiffany colored hour markers. This is a great example of a Speedmaster reduce that has a little bit more flair, something a bit more fun than the classic black moon watch. We have picked up a few of these. They're pretty hard to find in amazing condition, and this one is probably the top example with one of the rarest colors I've seen for the Arabic numerals. This really unique Tiffany color. We paired it on a French Epsom strap with a little bit of blue on the back to match the dial, and I think it is the perfect combination of a dressy and very sporty watch for the Omega Speedmaster. Let's take a look at some more dress watches. This one is a JLC Reverso. This is the Classique. So it's a small size, manual winding Reverso. It's not a dual face, it is the true purest form of the Reverso. This one in rose gold with a ridiculously cool gloss black Art Deco style dial. This is a personal favorite of mine. I think the size is perfect, and for any purist or true collector of the Reverso, in my opinion, this is the one to own. It's a beautiful tone of rose gold with a very dark and deep black dial. Phenomenal pickup for under $10,000. Next, we have 4 Cartiers. An affordable must-have Cartier, a watch that we're always looking for in great condition for the watch shop. It's just simple and affordable. This one is mechanical with its original buckle and a beautiful black lacquer dial to replicate an onyx stone dial. It was done on purpose, and I think they did a phenomenal job. Next to that is a pretty rare CP that not many people know about. It's a manual winding Diabolo. This one in yellow gold with a beautiful guilloche dial that also has a 24-hour track. This one has an officer style case with that military style 24-hour dial, and the mechanical movement winds like butter, which is really cool to see. It is called the Diabolo because of the Diabolo toy, which you can see resembles it in the crown with the sapphire cabochon. Next to it is a very rare version of the Normale. This is a 70s to 80s era Normale with a factory unpolished diamond case and diamond faceted crown with its original buckle. This one even comes with the Cartier service sticker and service papers confirming this is a factory diamond cased Normale, which is very rare to see. It's a Paris-signed dial. I love this watch. Even though it is a small size, it wears very, very nice on my wrist because of the large lugs, and this case design, as you know, is the original Cartier tag. So it's an amazing watch to own. And then a very sporty Cartier. This is the classic 2961 two-tone Santos Carree. We did a deep dive on the Carree, specifically the reference 2961 like this. Everything you need to know about the model, so check it out. But this time around, we have the Bourdeaux dial, this very unique patina, almost like a strawberry texture to it with its original ruby cabochon and in phenomenal condition. It's a classic Carree. You can never go wrong with a sports watch like this. I love them so much, and this one is a really cool example. We'll end off this collection before we get into the really cool, affordable stuff with amazing Patek Philippes. The Calatrava market, the Ellipse market, and these integrated bracelet watches have seen a whole lot of interest within the past couple months, deservingly so. We'll start with the classic 3919G. This is a white gold neo-vintage Patek. It's a perfect watch for anybody looking to get into Patek but doesn't want to buy a vintage watch that they have to be more careful with. You can wear this watch and not really have to worry about it. It features a sapphire crystal, a classic hobnail bezel in white gold with a white Roman dial, an ultra slim case in 33.5 millimeters. It's perfect for anybody looking to get a dress watch but wants something that's a bit larger in size. Next to this one is the 3796. They brought everything we love about the 96 into modern times with a sapphire crystal, an upgraded case design. This is just so much more robust and affordable compared to the 96. So if you've loved the original Calatrava but don't want to get into something that's a bit more fragile, the 3796 is the perfect watch for you. Lastly, we have two of the more oddball watches from Patek, an Ellipse with lugs. This one is in fantastic condition, circa 1970s in yellow gold with a matte finish Roman dial, original strap and buckle, and then this very rare, ultra slim integrated bracelet. This thing is in mint condition. The Florentine finish is beautiful on the bracelet and dial, and it features Breguet numerals, which is pretty special. Patek collectors know and love these watches. They do go for a pretty penny, but deservingly so. If you see this in person, you would fall in love. All right, so these are all the watches that we're dropping, but we're also including a couple of pretty affordable watches that I still think bring some serious value to the vintage watch market. Personal favorites of mine, we have 4 beautiful vintage Omegas. These 4, we have 3 blue dials and 1 silver dial Chubby case. This Chubby case is a personal favorite of mine. I own a sub-second Chubby case with its original beads of rice bracelet. I love my Omega. I purchased it when I first started the business. It'll never leave my collection, and it's because it's such an amazing watch. This one is a center seconds example with a freckled silver sunburst dial and its original buckle. It's in unpolished condition. You can see the original chamfers are super thick. It's an amazing watch for under $1,500, just like these other 3 all blue dial Omegas. We'll take a look at each one. The first one is an ultra slim Deville in steel. The Deville line is a very dressy model. This time we have an ultra slim steel case with a manually wound movement and a perfect blue dial. Next to it are 2 models that are very similar but have a few differences. We have an Omega Deville and a Geneve. Both of them are in a large sporty case. They're a bit different in design with their lugs and finishing, but as you can see, they have very similar dials. This Deville is an automatic hacking quick set movement, just like the Geneve, but this time you have a brush finish dial with tritium lume, and the tritium lume has turned into a pumpkin color. Both of these watches do have white painted hands, but the Geneve is a bit more special. This blue dial has faded into a lilac purple color, a true tropical dial watch for under $2,000, which I think brings serious value to anybody looking to get into the vintage watch market, but needs something more affordable, but is still looking for something special. Another automatic movement that is quick set with a hacking movement, so the seconds hand stops and the date window can easily be changed with the crown. It's a fantastic watch to own. All 3 of these watches are great examples of what you can find with vintage Omega when you're looking for something unique. If this was a blue dial Datejust, it would cost a whole lot more money, but it's still a phenomenal example of what you can find in the vintage watch market, including the classic Chubby case Omega Seamasters. All 4 of these watches are available with the Pateks, Cartiers, Rolexes, and more that February. So make sure you check out the Vintage Watch Shop. If you guys want a closer look at any of these watches that we couldn't really get into a deep dive on, please let us know in the comments below or just reach out to us. We'll make sure to have amazing write-ups and photos for you guys on the website to take a closer look at each and every one of these watches. So make sure you check it out. As always, if you end up purchasing one of these amazing vintage watches from the Watch Shop, I promise you, they will not disappoint.